I was say, wait a minute. Y'all looked at me like, hold on, Negro. We here another episode of Clickbaity Political Thirst Trap. Joined as always by my brothers from other mothers. Marcus Farrell, how you doing, man?
Not as dapper as Mondale.
Yeah, Mondale came. Mondale said, I ain't even gonna tell these dudes I'm gonna dress up. Farnsworth, Bentley looking at. You looking good, Mondale. What's going on, new money?
I don't know if it's new money. I just gotta go, present today. So I want to be presentable to certain folk who don't think hoodies are presentable. Anyway, it's good to be with y'all. It's so funny, Marcus, that it seems like the only time Ben pay attention to us is when the show is starting. Because he was like, wait, y'all didn't tell me to go live?
And I thought y'all said.
Normally he just kept going because you don't be paying attention. Go ahead, Ben.
I pay attention. I pay attention. Listen, man.
In our draws, we might be.
I pay attention to everything and nothing. That's my balance in life is to pay attention to everything that happens and nothing that happens because too much happens. But that said, we gotta see you in the bow tie, man. Look at it. What's going on, man?
I let COVID take my thunder, man. I literally been in sweats and t-shirts since forever. Since I think May. So, I had to remind myself that I had a closet.
You got started late, bro. I've been doing this thing since February. I've been quarantining, bro. February 27th, we heard that there was a teacher in our district that had COVID. We took our kids out of school and they ain't been back since. So
well, before May, Marcus wanted to do the show in suits. So we used to come in suits. And one time we did 17 wardrobes chain in one show.
I remember that. Y'all had multiple guests that night.
Yeah, we had
Senate, right?
It was the Senate candidates. All of them were up there. I'm just giving Marcus a hard time, but I honestly I just got an event earlier in the morning and just trying to match the crowd.
Nah, hey man, it looks good, brother. It's sharp. We wouldn't be messing with you if it wasn't sharp. But just give us the heads up next time, because we got blazers. We might not have bow ties like I think Marcus got bow ties, but I got a blazer in there. It's blue, but go ahead.
Next time there will be a heads up. I will say this. For all those fans who think I'm just a crusty-eyed guy in the show, you know what I'm saying?
What?
But
microphone working.
You know what? But to be fair and truthful, like this was how y'all used to dress every night, though. This is how every time y'all did the show, and then when we start going every single morning, y'all were like, okay, we have to slow it down a little bit. But I feel it.
And Negroes are traveling more for work. Marcus is driving across the country for his business, and then I'm in the hotel, literally. Been in a hotel for like 3 months, man.
Well, I'm about to say, like, I don't think I've seen you at home in at least a month, too. Shoot. Right. Katie McD got it. Said, we all know you and love your blue blazer blend.
You know. Oh, wow. That's
Ben has more than one blue blazer now. I have
yes. I have 3 blue blazers now. No, I actually still only have the one. I haven't bought a new blazer yet.
Each one of them costs 2 stacks.
Look. Let me tell you something. K Love said, Mondale, I wasn't supposed to put that on the screen. That was supposed to be you got to pay $99 super chat to get that kind of stuff on the screen. Tamara caught me already. She said, "Ben, don't get too caught up with these comments."
Uh-oh.
It was a reflex. I love this. I love to show my brothers getting love in the chat room. So it was a reflex.
Morning, Tamara. I didn't see that comment.
I know he did. I took it down. Before anybody else could see it. All right, that's it. Let me get my ass out of trouble. What y'all following in the news? Because I don't need. Oh, Tam said it ain't $99. It's $99.99. You got to say $99.99.
I actually wanted to say this before we get started with the show. My car has Wi-Fi capability, right? And I actually went ahead and went with it just so to make sure that if I'm traveling, I could come on Clickbaity Political Thirst Trap every morning. So at least once a month, somebody owes me $19.99 because that's how much the Wi-Fi costs. in
Oh,
the
that's
Jeep.
what's up. I need to get that in the. Well, I don't travel anymore right now. So, but you're
Yeah.
right. That's a dope feature. I need a backup. I need like a backup business line at this house because in this neighborhood it goes down at least once a week. It just goes down because they got to service something. So, we'll get those kind of backups and things in place so that we can always bring you political thirst trap, clickbaity political thirst trap every single morning. That said, the title of today's episode is Defund the Police episode 2. So there's some there's a lot happening, man, and I always hate to have to start with the bad news, but America keeps giving us bad news on a regular basis. Mundell, give us the backdrop on the story that you're following.
Man, per the words of a grandmother, a grieving grandmother now, Devon Gregory was who was 18 years old last night. Now he's no longer with us. Was leaving his job at McDonald's, picked up by his two cousins in a car. Officers stopped the car at supposedly a routine traffic stop, which also means a life-threatening incident for black men, if you ask me. From their side of the story, they said they were trying to de-escalate. We know better than that. A neighbor said they heard them screaming at him. One shot rang out, and then all of a sudden it was 37 shots. This young man was killed. They said he wasn't listening to their orders. 4 officers unloaded 37 bullets in the car. And then after that, they supposedly found a gun in the car. But what they didn't say is what people didn't hear. People like, see, there was a gun in the car. First of all, they didn't know that when they were shooting him 37 times. And beyond that, he was in the car. They didn't say the gun was on him. And it wasn't his car. He was riding with his cousin. So the fact that he got shot 37 times in his car for supposedly not listening to cops when he wasn't the driver is absolutely ridiculous to me. And the fact that one neighbor said she heard one shot and then the rest of them came kind of like firecrackers, which tells me that they had already probably incapacitated him with the first shot and then just unloaded the rest because it's an age-old sport for white American cops to kill black men. Jacksonville, Florida is where it happened at this morning. Brother was literally getting off work and riding with his cousins.
You know, the irony about this is that I have a nephew that's 17 years old that lives in Jacksonville, Florida. My sister lives in Jacksonville. I got my organizing start in Jacksonville, Florida. We started organizing for Marissa Alexander and Trayvon Martin out of Jacksonville, Florida years ago. And I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, I'm not gonna be gaslit. I'm no longer gonna be gaslit by establishment figures that tell me that I need to police how I talk about defunding the police. I'm just not doing that anymore. And I don't care what they say. I don't care if it scares the white people, because this is not about the white people, right? If Black Lives Matter and you have the goal and the gall and the gumption to say Black Lives Matter, if you had the goal and the gall and the gumption to negotiate a contract with the NBA, or companies saying you need to say more about diversity and you need to say more about Black Lives Matter, and you don't understand that Black Lives Matter fundamentally believes in defunding the police, then how about this right here? Let's defund the 35 bullets that killed them. Can we do that? Can we start there? Can we start with defunding? Because they say reform, right? So whether they're going to reform 35 shots to one shot that would have killed him, right? Inherent racism against black bodies is something that can't be reformed. You think a 6-month training program is going to stop cops from killing black people when they have inherent biases against black men run across the nation, black men and women across the nation? They look at us like beasts. They look at us like we are extra strong and extra big. They look at us like we can lift cars. They look at us like we can, take our handcuffs off in the back seat and shoot ourselves in the head. They look at us like we're going to murder a whole neighborhood when we're riding our bike down the street. They look at us crazy when we're just jogging, because for some strange reason, if we're jogging, we're either running towards something problematic or running away from something that we did, not that we just like our good health. I mean, every single morning this channel airs a workout. Thank God that we film ourselves, because without that, we could be the next victim. So yeah, this is the Defund the Police episode number 2. This is the Defund the Police episode number 2. This is the Defund the Police episode number 2. Why? Because defund the police. Don't reform the police. Don't listen to the Clyburns of the world. Don't listen to all the people, all the moderate Democrats of the world trying to tell us how to message what we are going through. Right? We're going through it. If you have a problem with it, then you haven't had a gun pointed at your head. If you have a problem with it, then you haven't been playing basketball like myself when I was 16 years old, playing basketball at a public court and had cops swarm the court when I'm out there by myself with nothing but a jersey on, some shorts on, some sneakers on, and a basketball. That can't be reformed. When every single body in America, when every black body in America looks like a suspect, off top, and you know what? I'll go more personal, because Devon shouldn't have been killed, but neither should my cousin Jonathan. Neither should Trayvon Martin. Neither should Tamir Rice. Neither should so many other people across the nation that we only know their names because they are famous. They are famous black people, not because they're organized in the streets, not because they have the opportunity to start a multi-million-dollar business, not because they're employing people, not because they're the next Stacey Abrams, not because they're the next, not because they're the next major organizer in America, not because they're the next savior of black America, not because they're a black voter. We know them because they died. Don't tell me I can't say defund the police because your sensibilities are messed up, because they don't have guns in your neighborhood, because the cops don't patrol your neighborhood, so you think that officer friendly is a real thing. Officer friendly is bullshit. Miss me with all that. This is the Defund the Police episode number 2. This is the second episode. Defund the police. Why? Because defund the police and fuck your feelings.
So, Ben.
Yeah.
Did you want to speak on the
yeah,
tragic...
no, I mean, man, listen, bro, listen. When the truth has been said, just let it stand, bro. I'm honestly glad to have you guys here to talk about it, because I have had to, ask my producers, I compartmentalize those stories. I tend to, I don't cover them like I used to, because I covered so many in my first year of doing this. I was like, are you serious? I thought it was a practical joke in a way. I thought the universe was just like effing around with me, because every single other day, like every other day when I first started this, we were covering somebody being killed by the police, a black man. Generally speaking, it was overwhelmingly black men, and then there were black women in that as well. And I just had to compartmentalize it for my own personal health, and personal sanity and personal freedom. Because you can only talk about the problem so many times, right? We know the problem, we know the diagnosis, and we see that this is now at the point where they are killing themselves. Their ignorance, their bigotry, their white supremacy, their racism, they love all that so much that they are killing themselves. So to that extent, it's like, what do we expect them to do? Why would we put money in their hands when we know they are so sociopathic that they'll kill themselves? And now you put the money in their hands for them to come police us. I mean, they literally are looking at COVID-19. And I played a clip, I think it was last night or the night before, where this nurse was talking about how her patients, as they are dying, are refusing to admit that it was COVID-19, refusing. They thinking it's something, they want to blame it on lung cancer. They want to blame it on anything but COVID-19. And I just want you to think about that sociopathy. These people are killing themselves, but we're putting money in their hands to go out there and police us. What do you think they were going to do in our communities?
I want to do a retraction, something I never done on this show, but it seems unrelated to this, but it's exactly related, and I'm actually doing it because of this situation, because I'm reminded as if the universe was trying to tell me, pipe down. So yesterday we had a 10-15 minute conversation about pseudo progressives, and I'm calling them pseudo progressives from now on. And I think it's important that I say this. So yesterday we were arguing about Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, and Elizabeth Warren role after she dropped out of the primary and what was supposed to be her role. Um, Neoliberalism and this slow walk to progress is absolutely responsible for the death of Devon Gregory, just like conservatism is. And touting yourself as a progressive and then supporting neoliberalism also puts you in that bucket as well. So I'm offering that category or that categorical retraction in that Elizabeth Warren comes from, and this is important, the Ivy Tower institution of this country. This is the place where progressives go to hide. What I'm learning is, and this doesn't exclude politicians either, so-called progressive politicians. The institutions, like these so-called liberal institutions, aren't really progressive at all. They are progressive as long as they are afforded tenure. You know what I'm saying? Like these pseudo-progressive professors who are protected by Ivy Tower and tenure are progressive in their writings, but not in their living. They're still Gucci-fied. You know what I'm saying? They're still Gucci-fied in their aspects, their leather cases that carry around these so-called progressive writings. But in actuality, it is them who create these euphemisms that allow us to be murdered or allow us to give white people passage.
Come on, man.
A great example, I said last night, I'm divorcing on my Facebook. I'm divorcing terms like marginalized, minority, disenfranchised, disassociated, or any other term used to act as a synonym or a passover for oppression and oppressed.
Right.
Because when you say oppression and oppressed, then by default, someone is oppressing you, and there's an oppressor. And we need to give white people and white supremacy its credit for oppression of people that look like us. In this case, people who die that look like us for getting off work, being in the car going home. Shooting someone because a gun is in the car and then having white people use it as an excuse is absolutely disgusting for a race of people who defend the Second Amendment right as if it's their firstborn child. And they should, because it kind of is, right? Because at the Bacon Rebellion, three things was birthed in this country: the use of white and black as a way to describe people, and also the division between poor folk. All of those happened because of the Bacon Rebellion in Jamestown, Virginia. All of this is linked because you need to know, because that was the origins of what became slavery in this country. Slavery is important in this context because there were no police during slavery. There were really no police. There was no prisons in the South during slavery or right after slavery. It wasn't until the ending of slavery that we began to populate the South with jails and prison. The prison population, the 3 years after slavery ended in my home state in North Carolina, was about 297. But they realized they needed a workforce. So the folk who were slave catchers, if you don't know this, slave catchers in North Carolina became the first police department in this country, hired to do one thing: return chattel, enslaved black bodies back to plantations. And guess what? Sometimes it didn't matter if it was the right black body. just take a black body back to slavery, to that wretched institution that dehumanized us to the point of lower than cattle. That's important because police right now don't give a fuck, excuse my language, y'all, if the black body that they're killing, arresting, or apprehending is the right black body. It's just a black body that they're taking somewhere. Taken to hell, taken to heaven, taken to prison, taken to court. It doesn't matter. It's a black body. Therefore, talking about reforming, meaning forming it in another way, you can't form slave catchers in another way. When they tried it, they got the police department. We see what the police department is in its current iteration. It ain't no reforming this. You must defund it. You must abolish it if you give a damn about black lives.
Yeah. Man, this is the song that never ends in this country. And not to not to be too dismissive of the issue, because the issue is critical and what we're dealing with is critical. But I can't let the moment pass and not recognize the fact that Mondale just took back something. He just took back his entire ass support. Not the entire support, but he had to clear the air. Like, wait a minute, let me just let y'all know. So he got on his bean pie bow tie, and so he came he came and said, "I am more than capable of taking back something I said the day before." So shout out to you, man, for making those caveats and disclaimers about neoliberalism as it pertains to Elizabeth Warren. And might I suggest just wear the bow tie every day, man. Wear the bow tie every day. People appreciate
I mean,
it.
you know, and Elizabeth Warren too is, I mean, frontline communities, going back to these words we don't use, marginalized folk, indigenous people. This is I'm talking about these ivory tower institutions. She's a part of the problem if we think about it in that context, because until she became an elected official, she identified and gave Harvard, which is also a slave institution, passage on their minority hiring, right? Like their oppressed people hiring, because she played Native American, even though she grew up as a white woman, lived her life as a white woman, which shows their ability, talking about these white institutions, I'm talking about American institutions, including politics, ability to discount what really is the lived experience of real oppressed people, and how they're comfortable with their folk playing oppressed folk, and it's good for them.
Here's another part of this, and then Marcus, I want you to jump in with whatever you got. Another part of this is that we just got to admit that there's almost no way to obtain power in this country without being a part and complicit with the system. Like every channel of power, every pathway to leadership, every pathway to the political world, every pathway to academia, it's drenched in white supremacy. The waves were paved by white supremacy, right? And we talked about this with Kamala, with the fact that her path to the vice presidency went through a prosecutor's position, right? That's because those are the channels of power that are reacting to the white supremacist power structure. So I say all that to say is that it's going to be very difficult for anyone to make it to some level of authority in this country without using one of these pathways, whether they cave into it, whether they give into it, white supremacy, or they serve it, or they fight against it. That's the real question. But I don't know of one viable path all the way to be able to get enough power to change the system without getting stained by the system. It just doesn't exist. And I think most of us are trying to create it. We're trying to find a way to make change without having to be stained with the stink of capitalism and white supremacy. But I don't know if anybody has found it yet.
Kamala did what most statewide, national level of black people have done in the past, and that is you have to be able to screw over black people to help fix them in the current system, right? And that's what I hope. I hope that the senator and the next vice president uses her elevated platform to actually right her wrongs, but not only right her wrongs, but right the wrongs of our people. And to be honest with you, all is forgiven if that's the case with me. But I mean, I'm glad you said that, because they capping. Moderate white folks who are saying you need to change the language, they're capping, they're lying, they're disingenuous.
Yep.
Black folks who say you need to change the language will turn right around and march how they scream, and scream how they marched with King and marched in the 60s and even in the 70s, and how they were revolutionaries and had afros and read Afrocentric books about black liberations from the 50s all the way till now. And then they'll tell you that we need to change our language. They disingenuous and they capping and they lying. They lying right in the face to support white supremacy. You mean to tell me that that lesson that Mondale gave everybody was a lesson that I learned in high school, not even in college, right? But in high school. Now, I did go to FAMU High, right? I did go to a black high school on FAMU campus, and I also went to a black public school, right, where they center education and telling us the truth, even in the 90s. But I went to FAMU, and you mean to tell me that all these black politicians who are literally screaming at the top of their lungs, you need to change the language to make it palatable to white people, don't know the history of policing in America? It makes y'all disingenuous. It makes y'all not worthy of representing black people. It makes moderates not worthy of having even being able to come into our churches the October before the election day and being able to scream whatever they want to. How can you go to any descendant of Richard Allen's AME church? How can you go to any descendant of CME church? How can you go to any descendant of these churches that fostered black liberation, hid slaves in their basements and in the undercarriages of their churches, were a part of the Underground Railroad in some way, and then sit up here and tell us that we should tailor our message to make white people a little bit more accepting of it? White people need to get on our page. We don't need to get on theirs.
Bro, because here's the thing about, like, what we keep saying. People, I think somebody asked a couple days ago why we keep talking about white supremacy. Because, I mean, legitimately, folks don't want to have this conversation, but white supremacy is at the core of 99% of our problems in this country. The overwhelming majority of what we're going through, not only in terms of racism, but white supremacy directly connected to the problems of income inequality and the problems of people living paycheck to paycheck, the fact that we can't do any of the economic issues that we want to do, like Medicare for all. The reason Medicare for all is strangled in this country is also because of white supremacy, right?
It is a luxury of white people to not talk about or worry about white supremacy. To believe that black people can walk around America and not think about white supremacy daily is to think that we are zombies or sleep, or to really be ignorant. And ignorant by choice, of course, to the lived experiences of black folk in this country. White supremacy will kill you at the grocery store, kill you taking pictures of birds in Central Park. Yeah. White supremacy will kill you on the way home from work, kill you sleep in your bed, kill you at 105 years old in your own home. If you are Isidore Monroe in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, white supremacy must be talked about regularly with black folk that are concerned with addressing the problems of black folk. It is ridiculous not to believe that. It is immature to even state or question why black folk talking about on a political show called Political Thirsttrap wouldn't talk about white supremacy. For it is our problem. It is our villain.
And what they don't realize, Mundell, is that it's their villain too.
Absolutely.
That's the thing. They don't even
be a whole Ben. You're right, brother. You can't be a whole human if you're too busy trying to make me otherwise than me. If you don't see me as a human, if you don't see that white supremacy is killing me, then that is a part of your human that you're shutting off.
Yes.
You're shutting off. If you are glad Michael Vick went to prison for those dogs, you should damn well be upset that cops shoot black men like deer.
No, I mean, at the end of the day, folks will donate to PETA, ostracize Michael Vick even after he served, and complain about him to this day, right?
There's no redeeming of him.
Right. There's no redeeming of Michael Vick. But let me tell you who does get redeemed in this culture of ours. The cop that shoots black people gets away with it, and all he has to do is move to a different department. You actually have police departments in America who think that if you shoot a black person, that is an advantage because you get paid leave.
Mm-hmm. Pull the trigger, kill a nigga.
He's a hero, right? So you know what? I mean, listen, I don't know if you guys saw it. I just sent a text message, and maybe you can get that video on the screen. But like the brother in Texas recently who got pulled over for dirty license plate, and now I'm all kinds of scared because I drive a Jeep and I go off-roading. But a dirty license plate.
Wait. So you mean physically dirty? I thought you. Okay, see. Go ahead.
No, I'm talking about physically dirty. Like, your car's outside,
Yeah.
and a storm comes and blows some dirt onto your license plate. And by the way, in hindsight, it was a dirty license plate, but still clearly visible.
Mm.
Right?
Mm.
So it's sort of like this guy kind of went behind his car and licked his finger and just rubbed it and was like, it's dirty. This is the reason why I pulled you over. Put this man on the ground. Handcuffed him, and pretty much said that he was obstructing justice. And what's the famous one they always like to use for
resisting arrest?
Resisting arrest. He was obstructing justice and resisting arrest. My skin tone and my sexual organs make it automatic that every cop in America can say that I'm resisting arrest.
Yeah.
Did you know that, America?
Yep. It's standard operating procedures. They train to say that. That's part of their training. Stop resisting. Stop resisting.
The wonderful thing is, like, when we get to a point where when officers can't charge you with just resisting arrest without another charge. Like, what were you arresting me for? People don't even, that's a conversation that we don't have often. Like, how am I going to court only for a resisting arrest charge? What would I be arrested for?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like
that's too much common sense, though.
That's too much common
good sense.
Like, how is the only charge I have resisting arrest? I got a couple of those in my life. And you don't win in the court, because you go to court and the judge is like, well, the officer wouldn't lie. And I'm like, well, you clearly have not been around
anywhere in America.
Right.
Hey, let me tell you how dangerous white supremacy is on our side of the house. Because forget the Republicans, they will go and hire the former Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. But
Grandmaster Flash Dragon.
Yeah, but check this out. As the Biden administration begins to take control, and yes, I am hopeful that they will take control of the White House and transition actually starts, and this is going to happen inevitably, no matter what the orange crybaby does. Guess whose name is creeping back up into the fray one more time? It's like Democrats are automatically addicted.
Rahm
Emanuel's name is getting brought back up one more time. Like, it's almost like, well, we gonna help y'all get free, but also we got to make sure y'all stay in check.
Yeah.
And the cover up liar in chief, Rahm Emanuel, of 16 shots in the cover up.
Yo.
He is of Laquan McDaniel. He is actually being considered for a cabinet position in the Joe Biden administration, and it automatically lets me know that, again, just like I said in many episodes, you can't have the Lincoln Project and Black liberation at the same table. You fundamentally can't have Rahm Emanuel and Black liberation at the same table. You fundamentally can't pass your own little lift every voice plan and Rahm Emanuel in the administration, because if there is one Democrat that's going to actively go against anything for the Black community, it's Rahm Emanuel. You can say whatever you want to. You can say, oh, well, he was Obama's chief of staff. He was one of the main reasons why Obama thought it was not cool to help Black people. Yeah. So you can talk about he was the mayor of Chicago.
Yeah.
He didn't allow not a damn resource in the south side and west side of Chicago 4 years. 4 years. So, and he allowed a cover-up of a shooting that would have ended anybody's political career. Because see, if all was right in the world, Andrew Gillum in Florida would be considered perfectly fine and being able to run right now if all was right in the world, and Rahm Emanuel would be in jail.
That's just too much common sense, though.
So this is the reason we're talking about Rahm Emanuel being considered for a secretary position is because Rahm Emanuel wants to be considered for a secretary position. That administration will not put that idiot in office. He's too divisive, and it's also a direct attack on progressives, and progressives are going to take it that way. Not to mention, you may lose Chicago as a Democratic a spot if Emmanuel is put into the what I think he's vying. He's got his team out here working to position him for the transportation secretary, and I think I got a perfect transport for him. I won't tell you where it's to go. I just tell you it's hot when he gets to the destination, hotter than Florida, is where he can go. So I don't think that administration would that is as far as
I hope you're right.
I don't see that happening at all.
Mondale, bro, listen. Okay. Boy, I need you to be right. Because that's why the reason why I said shh to you is because I was thinking to myself, oh man, Mondale just pointed out that it would be anti-progressive. And I hope they ain't watching the show, because if it's anti-progressive, that might be the reason why they bring.
I can't go along with that, because I'm telling you, for me, the most progressive legislation we've seen for real is the Green New Deal, and he picked the co-sponsor of the Green New Deal. He already committed 18. Last night, Bernie was on TV naming all of the progressive ideas that the progressive wing of the party has got Biden already to commit to, and the list was long. Bernie did 3 or 4 minutes of listing.
Yeah, I mean,
progressive ideas, including the $18 billion that Biden's going to spend creating green new jobs, and also trying to address climate change. So I think I don't know. I am where I am on the issue about the establishment Democrats and their failures. I also am about being accurate with my critique. So I believe if Rahm Emanuel goes into Joe Biden's administration, it is absolutely war. It's a hostile act against progressives, and we should act accordingly.
And what you're saying, Mondale, is you think that the Biden administration realizes that?
Yeah, I absolutely know they do.
I think they got to know the score, and they have to understand that we just chomping at the bit for an excuse to come at them. Like, really. Honestly, I owe them 6 months worth of silence that because there was plenty of good reason to criticize Joe Biden the entire way through, but we understood we had to get rid of Donald Trump, and I think the team around, they would be foolish. I need the team around Joe Biden to be smart enough to have done this simple calculus. If y'all mess around and put Rahm Emanuel on this administration, we coming for blood. Like we have there's literally no reason for us to hold back anything and to oppose you on everything. So I need them to be that smart.
My guy Alvin Brown is being considered for a HUD secretary, and I'm all right with that, believe it or not. Yeah, I'm all right with that. Former black mayor of Jacksonville, Florida, HUD secretary. I mean, he could have did some things to improve his relationship with Democrats and also black folks in the city. But on the same token, I know he had plans, and that's what's up.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ben. I was literally gonna just go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say I was just gonna do a pause for a station identification. Fellas, you want to tell them where to find you at?
I am Mondale on Instagram, Mondale Robinson on Twitter, Mondale Robinson on Facebook, and Black Male Voters Project everywhere. Without the S, I just add the S because it's African American vernacular, and I can't stop doing it. I also put S on spaghetti sometime. It is what it is.
Spaghettis? Plural?
Yeah. It's
a thing.
The S.
I'm sure I got some S's somewhere.
Is a part of it. I'm telling you, mine's.
Yeah, definitely mines. What you got, Marcus?
I got a little Lex Dixie of myself. Pasquetti.
Exactly.
It comes out every day. Pasquetti. Give me some of that Pasquetti. Marcus Farrell on Instagram. Actually, Marcus for America on Instagram and Twitter. Marcus Farrell on Facebook. Old Man Politic on Twitch, and my gamer tag is Doc Reality, DOCREALITY. If you want to catch me on most platforms, that's my gamer tag. Get those likes up. If you want to follow Clickbaity Political Thirst Trap, make sure you follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Clickbaity Political Thirst Trap. It's C Thirst Trap on Twitter. It's Clickbaity Political Thirst Trap on Instagram, and it is Clickbaity Political Thirst Trap on Facebook.
All right, cool. You follow me on
What
Twitter.
Is it on YouTube? What is it on YouTube?
I forgot. You know it.
You follow me on Twitter at Benjamin P. Dixon. Somebody wanted to know in the chat room, and I think we could do a round robin they wanted to know, they said that they're new to progressivism, and so that they wanted to get a better understanding of what all is wrong with Rahm Emanuel. I'll start with the fact that he was the person who actively told Barack Obama's cabinet in 2008 that we have to get him off of this breaking up the banks bullshit. I think that's an exact quote from Confidence Men, the book that came out. So Rahm Emanuel was the very first person to push Barack Obama off the idea of breaking up the banks. That's just in 2008. Who wants to go next? What else is wrong with Rahm Emanuel?
Okay, I'll give it to you. So, when Rahm Emanuel ran for re-election, the second time, I ran a candidate against him. I was his campaign manager. Got a lot of experience in the city of Chicago. Love Chicago. Spent summer times going to the NYSP program in South Chicago at Chicago State University. Kind of sort of halfway raised on 95th and Vernon. So all you Southside Chicago people, I spent a lot of time there, and I managed to get back up there and run a mayor's race. We did not win, but it was a fun thing to go through. From what, as Mondale brings up, making sure that your petitions get counted, to having things like, okay, so we were running against the mayor, and I'll give a quick story about Rahm. We had a van that was legally parked with our candidate's name on the side of it in front of our campaign manager, in front of our headquarters. And Rahm would tow this van. It's legally parked. Rahm would tow this van once a week. Once a week, we knew that the mayor had towed our vehicle, right?
Jesus Christ.
Because he was just petty like that. But more importantly, process-wise, Rahm closed 50 schools in the black neighborhoods.
Yep. He did, man.
Right? And here's the thing. He did it while I was in Chicago, so it was some of the coldest days I've ever seen in Chicago history. And you would drive by a closed down school and all the lights would be on. And all the heat would be on. And all the water would be working. And we were still paying for it, but he just closed them down. And he said it was to consolidate. What he didn't realize is when he closed those schools down is he created more violent neighborhoods, and then he had the gall to turn around and blame it on black people.
Yeah. Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Rahm Emanuel was so willing to put more money into the Loop in downtown Chicago and Magnificent Mile than black and brown neighborhoods that And I mean, like Lori Lightfoot has her problems, but but if you're not happy that Rahm Emanuel is not the mayor of Chicago right now, then you are an evil human being, right? and Rahm Emanuel needs to go ahead and just, get your money, man. Stay on Wall Street, work for Chase, be on those boards, invest, make you some money. Like, just stay away from public policy decisions.
Right, because everything he chooses to do is something that's harmful to working people. Mondale, what you got? What's on your list that come to your mind?
Well, Marcus said education, so I might as well talk about education sister, especially if we talk about, you guys tell our audience who lives on the south side of Chicago. What type of people?
Black people.
Right.
Black folks.
Who live on the north side of Chicago?
White people.
Because of Rahm Emanuel's, Marcus, you know this, and Ben, you probably do too. This dude closed his first year, not his first term, his first year, right? He closed nearly more than half, I think, of the city's mental health clinics, and most of them on the south side. So couple the fact that you're closing schools and mental health clinics on the south side where black people are, and then you and people talk about, this is what I'm talking about when people talk about at risk. No, man, talk about oppressed, because that's what it is. And when you say at risk, you give freedom to white people who are responsible. Rahm is absolutely responsible for what was going on in Chicago, and also the secret prison in Chicago.
Yeah,
Rahm was part of that.
That's right.
And let's not forget that Rahm was a part. I'm just talking about his time. I'm just talking about his time in Chicago. I ain't even talking about his time in the Clinton administration.
Right.
Which he also had a role in Chicago, doing what Clinton did, cutting and using triangulation, basically cutting welfare benefits for folk, and then blaming them for being
Yep.
poor, basically. The same thing Clinton did. Cut, welfare about 66% but didn't cut poverty by anything. Actually went up under his term. Rahm is responsible for the same thing in Chicago. Lord have mercy. I mean, should I keep going?
Well, let me throw in
Chicago
one.
Environmental Department, he closed that down too.
No, wait. Let's absolutely keep it going, right?
Okay.
Because we should have a definitive list.
Can I tag?
Well, let me just throw in one that the second when he ran for office, like both of you mentioned Laquan McDonald, but I just want to put the fine point on this, that he made sure that the video footage of Laquan McDonald being killed by Chicago police officers did not come out until after he was already reelected. That's some slime ball shit, because everybody saw it. Everybody knew Chicago was responsible. Chicago was dead ass wrong, but he actively suppressed it so he could get reelected off the votes of black people. Go ahead, Marcus.
How he corrupted black politicians, and they might be corrupt in itself, but how he corrupted black politicians into supporting him, rain, sleet, or snow, because he perpetuated the daily Chicago machine.
Mm-hmm.
But he made the Chicago daily machine, which was already pretty racist, he made it even more racist. Now, I got a specific example. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Ron was going to put the Star Wars Museum, and I'm not certain if it happened or not, but Ron was going to put the Star Wars Museum, like tear down all kinds of black people stuff, put the Star Wars Museum up, and he okayed it. George Lucas, and I ain't got no problem with George Lucas. I think without George Lucas, we wouldn't have a certain aspect of visual diversity, believe it or not, right?
Wait. Isn't Star Wars owned by Disney, not George Lucas anymore?
Yeah,
but I mean, he's the visionary.
But at the time, it was a negotiation between but George Lucas and the city of Chicago.
I was about to give you the go ahead to criticize the franchise because it was owned by Disney, and I don't, you can always criticize Disney.
Hey, listen, you can always criticize Disney.
Although Oprah might be upset because they own the channel that owns her channel.
Right.
We don't care. We don't give a damn about. Anyway, let me not get us canceled.
So when you are willing to just openly, Rahm created the era of gentrification. It was slow during the Daley administration, but it was expedited at a high pace.
Yeah.
During, Whole Foods started popping up in all types of black neighborhoods, and the jogging white girl was all over the place in Chicago as soon as Rahm Emanuel became mayor. And there's nothing wrong with a little diversity, but when you start taking neighborhoods that historically were food deserts, then move everybody else, and then you build a grocery store. Not only is that petty, but that's Rahmish. Can we just start
Rahmish?
Can we start using Rahm as a verb?
Rahmish, yes. Stop ramming shit up, man.
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Adjective.
Yeah.
Wow.
It needs to be. It is the best way to describe, because he is the rot at the core of the Democratic Party. He thinks he's the muscle, and I think politically
he is the youngest version of the Clinton administration that's still around. That is disgusting
in its purest form, without any sympathy, without any empathy, without any regard. Like f your feelings, f your problems. I don't give a damn that I had to cover. Rahm Emanuel will say in private, I don't give a damn that I had to cover up that motherfucker's death. Laquan McDonald, that's him. That's him. He shouldn't have been out there in the first place. I had to get reelected, and he believes that firmly. I guarantee you, on everything that I've ever made, that he has had that exact conversation with his closest confidants. So this man is full of shit. But now you know, for those of you who didn't know before.
And Mario, we should also say that, just because people are running campaigns to get cabinet positions, like when you hear about that, doesn't mean that person is in the top run or even getting serious consideration. No, not you, Marcus. I'm talking to Mario, who's on Facebook, saying that the fact that he's being considered, like that's part of the political racehorse, like the horse race. People literally run campaigns to get positions. Like, so this is just Rahm's team doing their job of trying to make him look sexy as a transportation secretary, even though he said he lined up $1 billion in Chicago to do with private investment money, and what actually turned out, and he said it was going to create 3,000 jobs, and it actually became a $13 million investment that created 106 jobs, which means Black Male Voters Project with less money has created more jobs than ROM's program.
That's right.
Give me everybody on Twitter, everybody watch. We have 940 people watching. Now again, anytime we give you instructions like this, if you are driving your car, one, I hope you're listening and not holding the phone watching. Now I know sometimes it gets wild and you just got to see it, right?
Like,
but
what do
no,
you say?
Yeah, exactly. I know that, Clem. But anyway, the point is if you are stationary and not driving, we need you to go to twitter.com and describe what Ramesh is. Hashtag Ramesh. How do you spell ramen? It's RAHM.
Yep.
ISH. Ramesh. RAHMISH. And just describe hashtag Ramesh. What is it? What does it mean? What are the characteristics of a Ramesh type of person, of a Rahm Emanuel type Democrat, a Ramesh Democrat?
And don't forget to tag Clickbaity
Tag us.
in that.
Tag us so we can watch it or retweet it. Tag us, our personal pages, our professional pages. We want everyone to talk about how Ramesh it would be for the Democratic Party to put Rahm Emanuel for Joe Biden to put Rahm Emanuel in his cabinet.
I gentlemen, I got something on my heart, and we talk about it all the time, but I want to dig into this time because there is someone who's watching our show that needs to hear this right now. Black people have supported the Democratic Party when white people have failed the Democratic Party.
Period.
Point blank. All right. So you could talk about Latin Americans, but here's the difference. They're not all just Latinx Americans. You know what they are? They are Mexican Americans, they are Puerto Rican Americans, and they are Cuban Americans, and many, 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 many more. They're not one group of people who think alike.
You can go a different way with it too. They're Afro Latin American.
Yeah, that's right.
They're white Latinx Americans. They're indigenous Latinx Americans.
Because Puerto Rican people have more in common with black people than they do Cubans besides language. I hate to be like that. That's not just my opinion. Talk to most Puerto Ricans. I lived in Puerto Rico for a while. I thought it was a whole big black island. So,
when we going?
If you know the history, the history of the island, then it's gonna be pretty hard to argue that point. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
It's gonna be pretty hard to argue against that when majority of Puerto Ricans have African lineage because what the island was and what the Spanish were trying to do to the French and American or British colonies, and offering the east side of the island to be what
black. And it wasn't just Taino, and it wasn't just Spanish. It was black. Remember that.
Right.
All right.
Right.
So I'm going through this because I want to point out something. There was one black person that served as a campaign manager of any presidential campaign this year. That's just to work for Julian Castro. There are less than 5 black executive directors of any Democratic statewide party in America right now. There are less than 3 black, less than 5 black statewide chairmen of any Democratic party in America right now. Any statewide party in America right now. But yet and still, black people vote overwhelmingly for the Democratic Party. You have a campaign right now in the state of Georgia that as soon as the PlayStation 5 came out and as soon as Warnock and Ossoff won their races, that's as soon as they started contemplating getting rid of black and brown leadership within their campaigns to replace them with the white boys from D.C.
Indeed. Listen.
Hold on. Let me finish.
Go ahead.
Let me finish my thing. All these reorgs that are going on right now, to all you people who are thinking about running for chair, if you don't make guarantees that black people will be your ED and reward us for our discipline and our consistency towards the Democratic Party, then honestly, I can't rock with you.
Yeah.
I just can't rock with you. And the reason why is because over and over and over again, black people show up, and over and over and over again, white people get the jobs.
Yep. Facts.
And they don't know what they're doing.
Don't.
You mean to tell me that you are willing to actually actually think about a white campaign manager and a white deputy campaign manager in the state of Georgia? You actually willing to tell me that you're willing to have an all-white executive team that has happened many times in the state of Florida? And I'm not saying that you are considering that, but all of these positions should be filled and guaranteed with black people and brown people. Step down and get out the way for 1 second. And don't be afraid to tout it, because we deserve it. Y'all are easily tout our numbers. Black women will save America, but you won't give that same black woman a job. And I got a problem with it.
Can you and your long pauses get this shit over with?
Because the pauses do make me think that you done.
I'm like, what is this guy doing, man? Like, pausing for dramatic. He learned that at FAMU.
Furthermore,
he learned that at FAMU.
It's a FAMU shit.
Hey, hold on. Furthermore. Hey, hold on.
I'm like, is he done? Like, I don't even know. Like, I'm over here like.
Furthermore.
But no, what I was gonna say. Well, listen, here's the problem. Sometimes, most of the times, the black people that they're gonna put in those positions are gonna be the ones that's gonna go along with what's already to go along to get along. We need, if you really want to make your party better, go find a brother who ain't voted ever and make him the chair.
Facts.
Go find somebody that don't run media ads to take control of your advertisement budget. I got the perfect brother. He down here in Atlanta. He controls my media budget. Basically, my media budget is spent on club ambassadors. He's a club promoter in Atlanta. I spend more money in the clubs than I would ever spend on a TV ad. I bet you it yields more fruit than any of those Ossoff or Warnock ads that y'all are running right now.
I need you to make me the club ambassador when this is when COVID-19 is over. I get to pick the club, right?
Hey, as long as there's enough brothers in there, absolutely.
Could be jam packed with brothers.
they use stuff. They use stuff like, well, we need to worry about the process, or well, we need someone qualified, or who is someone who has done successful in the state before. There's not a black person who gets the opportunity to change a state or to flip a state. So what are you talking about?
Right.
Meanwhile, these white folks will go from being a doggone communications director on a small ass campaign manager to the executive director of the whole state.
Damn.
They can work one cycle and be considered experts. It's crazy. Whiteness and
lose that cycle.
Oh no, they always lose most of the time. That's always most of the time. Always most of the time. I love that saying. They always most of the time lose. I'm telling you now. No, but seriously, if you look at the Democratic record, then you know most of them lose most of the time. So I stand by that statement. Here's the problem though. I definitely want y'all to diversify your party, our party, and I also need y'all to fund our organizations, because our organizations are doing the work that the parties are not doing.
Speaking of,
honest, to be honest, it's go ahead, Ben. I want you to lose.
No, I was going to tell you something when you finish, because I'm going to lose my. I don't want you to lose your thought.
I was just going to tell them, like, listen, everything we're talking about is the betterment of our party. We own that party. The Democratic Party was a racist institution before we got here. And we changed it. We made it the party that it is. We kicking and dragging, because your boy Lyndon B. Johnson was still saying the N-word often. But for black people kicking and dragging and punching in the ribs and throwing rocks and hiding our hands for a while, this party wouldn't be what it is right now. So this is the greatness, and it's still short. It is still short because some of us don't stand up and scream what's ours. But the greatness, that anything that you could consider great because of the Democratic Party is owed to black folk.
Is that a pregnant pause?
I ain't go to family. I went to Livingstone, man. We a small school. You got to get it in quick.
The highest of 7 hills.
You know what? I did
Furthermore,
not even talk about Livingstone, that little Bible thumping college of yours, or little boosty ass BCC.
Hell,
this morning they all
baby.
BCC.
Ain't this classic? This is classic week, so we should be on it all day, every day.
Actually, you're absolutely right.
So
Right.
it's just it's coming out naturally. Like it's something
Right,
it's
right.
something like that time of year, your body automatically realizes I smell something in the air. Oh, it's the classic. It's the
Yeah,
classic.
He said
it's my
the
utter
class.
hatred for BCU.
And
Oh,
the ass
wow.
whipping that we always give you. We gonna whip. We not even. I don't even think they're having an actual football game this year, are they?
Nah, they shouldn't. I'm not. I
They
don't
shouldn't.
think.
But we still gonna beat y'all ass
because
though.
if so,
No football game at
hold
all.
on,
We
hold
still
on.
gonna whip
Because
y'all.
if there was a classic, Ben, you know that all of our people, even though they can't get in the game, they would have been catching COVID at the hotels. You already know that. If there was a football game, we
You
don't
can't
care.
even leave us. You can't bring us to the city because we gonna party in the city. The hotel lobby gonna be a COVID fest.
That's right. That's right. We're
Hey,
gonna
Marcus, let me tell you what's funny. When you call Livingstone Bible thumping people, I don't take offense to it. Dan was like, don't say that because her dad is a Livingstone alum as well. Listen, we are founded by the AME Zion Church. We are.
Yeah, I told y'all
our
Bible
board of
thumpers.
regents is the board of direct. I mean, is the bishops. The bishops run our school. All three of the AME Zion Church schools. I'm cool with that. We are also the church that freed black folk. Frederick Douglass was a Zionite, right? Harriet Tubman, Search on the Truth. We got some big shoes to fill over here, boy.
what's
Yeah,
up.
we
That's
Bible,
what's up.
and on Wednesdays, I can't even lie, we have mandatory family meetings, which is basically a church service. Ain't any need to lie about it.
So hey, just so as a heads up, fellas, I took this. I don't know if you would call it a position, because I'm not working for them, but I'm advising this group called Really American, and they do some really good ads. But what they're doing, and the first thing I advised them was whatever money I raise,
Get
put it
some
into.
strippers.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's always the first advice. A yacht with some models is always in order. But like when we doing the actual work, though, for them to send the money to organizations. So I'm putting them in touch with Black Male Voter Project, and then whatever other organization you guys tell them. You know, we've been pushing New Georgia Project a whole lot. So I'm telling them to take this money and do not recreate the wheel here. Don't build any organization in Georgia. Donate that money to existing organizations that have already proven that they can do the work. I think they want to run some ads or whatnot, but the whole point is whatever they do, I think it needs to be informed. And what was good about it, what made me really encouraged about the group was that they listened to me rant about it for about 10 minutes. And then they were like, we're already on it. That's their plan. Their plan is not to come in. And that's what we need. Like whoever is sending money here, whatever organization, people trying to do good work to help us win January, thank you. Don't create a new organization. Give the money to organizations that are already out here, and give the money to organizations that are proven that they're going to take care of their organizers, because the better you take care of your organizers, the better they're going to be able to do the work on the ground. So.
Since we're in the business of calling people, let me go ahead and call out an organization who called me the other day, and I guess they upset because they ain't called back. They were supposed to call back the next morning. Brady, the Gun Foundation, the Gun Reform Foundation, gonna call me and tell me what they want to fund for my Georgia work. First, they're gonna tell me they're proud of my work, and they want to fund an organizer through January. I told them, like, I mean, I ain't here for that transactional stuff. If you're interested in us delivering Georgia, helping deliver Georgia, then you need to fund an organizer for a year. Don't call me with no. And then, with no, I'm a fund the organizers for two. That's too transactional for what we're trying to build over here, and it's tacky. And they were like, "Oh, great. Well, we'll call you back in the morning, and then we could talk about what it's gonna look like." 4 days they ain't call back. Don't waste my time, yo. I'm gonna tell you right now, at least MTV did call back and get that. They got that smoke. They sat on the call and took it and said thank you for the advice, and they're gonna listen to it. But Brady, y'all shady for that. Y'all don't waste my time. We trying to win. We trying to win 4 or 5 elections down here, and y'all concerned with what you could take credit for. Go ahead with that. If you're really trying to fund people, don't try to tell them how to do the work. Don't give them this restricted fund.
Give them the money to do it.
Give them the money to do it and stop being white. Even if you ain't white, you can show up white and not be white. You know who you are. You call my phone. I ain't call yours. Don't waste my time.
I got one too. Hey, listen, there's one of these 2 campaigns out here that have black people working for them. Just because important people tell you to go hire some white boys doesn't mean you unelevate the black women that are already working for you. What you do is you tell them white boys that you send them down there that they got to work for this black woman.
You need to finish that point.
I'm finished with the point.
Okay, I didn't know if that was a pregnant pause. Okay. To add, no, seriously, but to add to what you're saying, I need folks to understand very clearly. Like, we put the math down. Well, we've compared notes. We have compared notes, and we've been comparing notes over generations. We've been comparing notes since slavery, since the founding of this country. Black folks have been comparing notes, and we've looked at the totality of America's sickness. And at the core cancer that's causing everything else that you see in this country is white supremacy. And when we talk about it in context of these campaigns, we need you to understand the white supremacy that's at play in these campaigns is one that's going to pour money into whiteness for the sake of whiteness and ignore exactly what needs to be invested in for there to be progressive victories. So when we talk about these campaigns, I need y'all to look at it through the lens of, yet again, here's white supremacy at the core sickness in this country, keeping us not only from getting rid of racism, but keeping us from getting rid of income inequality. So all the stuff that you really are focused on, that you really want, it's being held up because we stay losing campaigns, because we stay pouring money into these white organizers, which itself is a construct of white supremacy.
Let me, brother. There's this. I'm on it. Why not? Let's just do it. You talking about white supremacy and how it plays out in political structure. I don't have a father. I don't have a mother that I mean, and when I say that, I'm talking about a political father, political mother, meaning people I have to answer to.
Right.
This group out of New England wanted to write letters. They want to do a letter writing campaign for Black Male Voters Project. So they sent a message, right? Send a message. I didn't respond to them fast enough. It's been 4 or 5 days. First of all, I don't need you with your New England English writing letters to black men in Georgia. That ain't what I need to win this election. So what they did was they wrote a letter to my donor thanking her for all her support. One of the donors, right? Thanking her for all of the support that she's done on the political space this year. Look. All the support she did on the political space this year. And then the next paragraph was, we reached out to Black Male Voters Project, but they didn't respond to us.
How many days? Was it? 3?
Well, you know what I wrote back to that donor?
What'd you say?
4 or 5. You know what I told that donor? I'm trying to win an election. I don't need no letter writing to black men from white folk. You're gonna mess around and write the wrong thing, and you're gonna send us through the roof. Your letter writing campaign is John Ossoff ad campaign. I'm trying to deal with that right now. And also your white cousins that bought plane tickets to come down here on campaign vacation. That's gonna end up calling the cops on the black guy because he on the corner with a ratchet. Go on.
And spreading their COVID-19. Like, go somewhere and sit down somewhere.
Can I just say this? Ooh, God, I don't want to say it, but I'm gonna say it.
Oh boy.
Going the way we're going right now, with white people whiting the way they want to white down here in Georgia, we're gonna lose.
Man.
All right, listen, I said it. Going the way we're going right now, with the white people whiting on level 9 white, with the whiteness and the white supremacy putting on his white show and his white hat and saying, well, we know better and let us get the commercials. See, here's the funny part about it. I guarantee you that the commercials that are going out to black Americans are made by white guys whiting doing white things here in Georgia. It's just automatic because I know that 90% of the television consulting universe is white guys. So there's probably a high likelihood that there's not many brothers and sisters that are making an ass. That's why we got to make our own ads outside of them.
I'm going to make an ad.
We actually have to make our own ads outside of them.
I'm not even going to.
Listen, we got to. That's why we have to do our own thing outside of them, because it's like, well, here's the thing. When there's millions and millions and millions of dollars on the line in America, this is important because the only reason y'all care about Georgia is because y'all want to make sure that we have a U.S. Senate.
Mm-hmm. Yo.
Black people in Georgia, black people in Georgia just want to be represented once. There's a difference, right? Like, we just want our representation. Y'all want the control of the House. Black people in Georgia want representation, and there's a difference between like a consultant who knows that there's hundreds of $millions of coming down to Georgia, and they can have an ad on every single second they could possibly get it, and make a whack ass commercial.
Right. So listen. So it is okay. This is why I was laughing when you were talking. I was laughing at what you were saying, but only because it reminded me of something else, not because it lacked importance. Bro, Warnock is running an ad right now where he's, part of the ad, he goes to the guy on the back of the trash truck.
I love puppies. Yeah.
You see the trash truck ad, or like the trash truck?
No, I haven't seen the video? Trash truck ad.
I literally was on. I did a campaign in consultant on the campaign in Nashville for a mayoral election some years back, right? Now, people don't know Nashville mayoral election is tens of millions of dollars are spent because the mayor of Nashville controls a multiple billion-dollar budget, right? That's a massive budget. Anyway, one of the candidates ran the exact ad that Ossoff ran. It was just a white woman on the ad, and Ossoff replaced her. So I know the same consultant did that ad. Man, like the ad is all it's like damn near the exact ad. And I'm like, wait a minute.
That's the thing,
like,
man.
Wait a minute.
Here's
I saw
something.
the ad, I was like, I seen this before.
Man, I'm trying to cut you off. You ain't let me cut you off.
Go ahead.
He said, I know how to fix Dixon.
Got that mic back, bro. Got that mic back.
You got that. He went and got his mic upgraded. Now he won't let me cut off. I ain't got the best sounding mic no more. I used to just come in like the voice of God and be like, all right, fellas, all right, cut that shit out. But here's the thing, man. These cats absolutely have no authenticity. When you tell me that you could see the exact same ad, just swap out the person, right? That means they have no level of authenticity. But here's the gag. I guarantee you sit me down with John Ossoff, which you're not going to do because you can't afford to pay me enough time to do it. But if you sit me down with John Ossoff for 2 days, I will come out with the most authentic version of who that cat is. And I guarantee you everybody would be excited about voting for him. That's because we look for the authenticity in the people. They are looking for, can we take this character, put him through the same exact commercial, and what kind of results can we expect if we do the same exact thing? And the problem is that people see through that. Like, we know it's the same damn commercial. We know it's the same type of approach. We know exactly what they're going to say. They don't have the capacity of surprising us because these consultants never took the time to actually be curious about why this person should actually hold. Why should John Ossoff actually hold this position? If you actually took time to investigate that and build a campaign around that, you would win because it would be authentic.
Oh, well, even more important question. Why should my black behind go back to the polls and vote for this guy twice?
Right. In a pandemic.
That's the first question, right? You know, that's the first question. Like, there's no game time commercial. There's no call to action commercial again. The importance of it again. There's no trashing the Republican Party, the Republican candidates in a way that black people understand and motivate them to vote for our candidates on our side. There's none of that. This is just cookie cutter reintroduction. And I know they're phases because they have phases, right? They have certain phases of commercials, right? The backstory, the introduction, and then the meat and bones of it. And that's where all the cute commercials come in, and that's the policy. And then the ask, right? So there's 3 phases, right? It's like background, policy, and then making the ask to come and vote for me on. And they capping, man. They all lame. They so lame. God, they lame. They're just lame, and they can't help it. And they get paid all the money.
They get paid all the goddamn money.
They get all the money, and they're lame. And
I lied.
Lame, right?
I lied, man, because I had to pause and think about the kind of campaign media budget that these campaigns have. And actually, you can afford me. You absolutely can afford me. Give me that 20% that you about to give these media consultants who are going to help you lose. Give us that 20% and watch what we do with it. And that's the other thing. Like, this is something else y'all said that really sparked an idea in my head about black organizers, particularly. And this is not necessarily a good thing, or maybe it is. I want to get y'all opinion on this. The fact that when we see a budget, we don't instantly think about what we can get out of it. We instantly think about what we can do with that on behalf of the cause that you give us the goddamn money for.
I can't front. When I see a budget, I think of how many people I can hire.
What do you think when you see a budget, Mark Mundell?
Like, my whole career, ever since I learned what a budget was in politics, in my whole career, I look at a budget. If they say we got $1 million for this race, I immediately start thinking, okay, at $15 an hour, how many at 20?
Right.
At $18 an hour, how many people can I get? And I got to pay a campaign manager and a halfway decent field director, and I got to pay a communications team, and I might have some, and I need something on the radio and maybe a small bit for television.
What do you think when you see a budget, Mundell? What is your instant gut reaction?
how many voters I can get with that budget. Like, I mean, so Marcus just said, like, if, for instance, if it's $1 million, I know for every $1 million, I'm having multiple conversations with like 238,000 voters. So for every million, I'm thinking about the number of voters I can talk to with that money.
When somebody gives me a budget, I look at it and I say, how many different talents can I bring to the public with this budget? I don't look at that shit and say, I could pay myself X amount of dollars. I look at it and say, if I do it right, I could change the whole game. If I do it right, I could put on other talented people. If I do it right and we manage it right, we can win for the purposes that we look at money. And again, I don't know if this is a smart thing. Maybe we're the dumb ones, right? Maybe we're authentic, but maybe we're the dumb ones because it's not like we're getting a reward. We're not getting a check. We're not getting a gig because we're authentic. Like, if we get the gig, it's only because we got in there and showed them that we're better than everybody else on the whole goddamn team. So maybe we the crazy ones.
Ben, you know how many times I forgot about myself in the budget? I had to remind myself later on, wait. I'm owed X, Y, and Z. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like money, but I typically just try to make it so it's voter contact and as much direct voter contact as possible, man. But I mean,
so are we the idiots though?
I don't think we are the idiots. We're not out here like, so this is okay. So this is not I'm more Marxist than you. I'm a Maoist. You know, so we leave that for the folk in the colleges, right? But I think there's no, you're not.
I'm Marcus.
Marcus. Okay.
I missed it at first.
Tundra. Okay, I'm gonna fall back on that. That's good. I was like, no, you're not with that.
Oh, you about to snap on me? I saw you.
That Psycho Bunny hoodie on. You sit back. Talking about Ben don't know who Psycho Bunny is.
I'm about to say I know who Psycho Bunny is now, so yeah, I'm gonna go buy up a whole bunch of it just so I can. No, I'm not. Go ahead. Yeah. No, because it's just what you do when you've been poor. When you've been poor and you finally got a cup of change, you go out to eat, right? You ain't eating the ham sandwich at home anymore. You go to the restaurant. So, you know, when you ain't had no clothes, you go and buy a bunch of clothes. So I'm gonna do what you do when you coming out of poverty. So watch me. I don't know if it's gonna be Psycho Bunny though. I don't know, because I went to their website. I didn't see a whole bunch of stuff that was like, okay, I gotta have that.
I didn't either. By the way, I got my company's head. I'm trying to make my own gear. I got my own company's head gear on.
Put it a little closer.
Oh yeah, no problem. It's Restorative Roots. Everybody was wondering what my marijuana company is. Yeah, I have a marijuana company, a national marijuana company. It's called Restorative Roots. You guys we're doing a slow rollout right now. But we're focused on diversity and hiring Black and brown people in the marijuana industry to learn how to earn and grow. And we're doing pretty good right now. I don't talk about it much because whenever you start advertising, you can't advertise legally right now, honestly. So this is not an advertisement. This is me just telling you what I'm doing.
And you're just busy. You're a busy man.
Yeah, and secondly, whenever I mentioned that the marijuana industry is so racist, and Mondale, I know you got to get back to your point, but the marijuana industry is so racist that there's not many Black owners in this business. So Black owners typically try to keep themselves kind of low key until they land their licenses. And I've been doing this for a while now, and I've noticed that. I mean, I am going to go public and say this is my company, so you can check us out at restorativeroots.org. Right.
I got a question for you, man.
Yeah. But believe it or not, and I don't talk about it a lot on this show, but I'm a legal marijuana scholar.
Okay. So I ask a question, and you tell me if it's something that you can't answer on air.
Yeah.
All right, but no, it's actually kind of a simple question. I'm about to do the whole would you rather have brunch with Jay-Z or $100,000 kind of logic here. My question to you is it a space that you think Black folk more should we put our money in the space?
Yes, we should. We should put our money into space. We should all create conglomerate groups and go in for as many vertical licenses as we possibly can. We should, because there's less than 10 Black growers of major grows in America right now. Probably the same amount with Latinx and the indigenous community. We should grow. We should get together and figure out how, like they did in Chicago, figure out when the licensing phase happens in a certain state, and then figure out, okay, because this is how they keep us out of cannabis. This is a very important thing. Most legal cannabis states, when they open up licensing, they require you to have two things: an exorbitant amount of money in the bank account, and I'm talking about hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, that you could prove that you have. And the second thing that they ask for, which is the craziest thing, which automatically keeps us out of the game, is experience growing medical marijuana. That's right, folks.
Like we can't come in there and say that. They're gonna go arrest us.
So you can't come out. So how many people can openly say they have experience growing medical marijuana?
I mean, nobody who gonna admit it. Who gonna wait? But I mean, like we're not gonna admit that shit on air,
right?
Right.
So they kind of set this up so the people who, basically most of the farms in America are ran by people who are from California, who moved, or from Canada, places where you can, you've been able to legally grow, and as the market grows, they have set up hurdles, and there are a few black folks that are have been successful in getting across those hurdles. But if you're the normal black person that comes into the marijuana game, you are scarred. So
let me ask you this though. How many psycho bunnies I gotta skip, right? Because maybe I won't buy the whole bunch of psycho bunnies and like get involved. Like where's a starting point for somebody in the audience who wants to get involved as an investor?
Simple. I mean, there's and I'll post some of this stuff on our Twitter account. But there is, first off, marijuana investment is a very low hanging bar. Where you can trade your stocks on a daily basis and buy cannabis stocks. And I mean, they might fall off for a little while, but the major players, they're going to keep going up and up and up as every state that opens up means that more money for certain companies that actually get licenses in those states. So that's one thing. Another low bar is, states that are legal. Every state that is legal, most states that have legal marijuana, you can do something like get with a marijuana processing center and create your own product, right? And then take your marijuana product and
to market
and go to a dispensary and be like, this is my product, this is my skincare line, this is my.
What if it's just a strain like the BPD show strain?
Then you are gonna have to buy that strain from the processor, right? And or get a processing license yourself, right? So I mean, it's a lot more complicated than this conversation right here. There's a lot of information in it, and I would love to give the Trap Squad a very, 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 very in-depth sort of how to go from point A to point Z in this thing. Right?
Do a video of it, man. That should go viral.
Yeah. No problem. I mean, but for right now, just know that it's not an easy thing to do. Get your money up, because most of these states require you to have anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 to even up for the application fee itself, and up to $1 million in the bank account of provable assets. And that's how they keep black and brown folks and poor people out of the marijuana game. The rich get richer so far, and that's why I always say one thing: it's cool if we legalize marijuana or decriminalize marijuana. I prefer legalization, and it's even cooler if we throw away the records, right, and expunge records, right? But it doesn't matter until we have ownership. Any marijuana law that gets passed without some kind of equity provision guaranteeing that people of color who are impacted by the war on drugs have an opportunity to actually own some of these businesses, it's not a legit thing, because basically it's like, well, yeah, black people, brown people, you're only going to buy white weed, even though we throw you guys in jail for selling your own weed for years.
Right. A couple questions from the audience. The audience is really interested in what you're saying, so definitely make that video. Definitely make that video so people can understand. My question for the audience, though, first is what do we call our strain? Do we call it the Thirsttrap strain? Do we call it the Squirrel Gang? Do we call it?
Wait. I missed that. Wait, are we talking
what do we call our strain of weed? Yeah.
Squirrels don't smoke weed, Ben.
Bruh.
We gotta get some almonds. We gotta start a new business called almonds. And we can call it Three Nuts.
Three nuts. That should be the name of the strain, bro. 3 nuts.
There you go.
3 squirrel nuts.
Almond flavored weed.
Okay, here are my requests. Like I need it to help me stay awake, help me be creative as hell, but also help me go right to sleep at the same time. I want to be able to.
Man, you looking for weed sex?
Yeah, no, I have a very specific need in terms of bare water. I needed to energize me and mobilize me. I needed to make sure that I am creative. Like I want to be able to be on the edge of the universe, looking at a black hole, and then automatically come right back to whatever we're talking about on the show. I don't need people to realize that my train of thought has left. And I also need to be able to just close my eyes at night and go right to sleep. So if we can,
orgasm.
That's a squirrel orgasm.
There you go.
That's a sativa hybrid, man.
A sativa hybrid.
That's a sativa indica hybrid. Obviously, that's a sativa indica hybrid because you want two things to happen at the same time.
Yeah, but based on what I choose though. Like if I want to stay awake, I stay awake. If I want to go to sleep, I need it. Somebody said a squirrel buzz. We call it the squirrel orgasm or the squirrel buzz. I like squirrel orgasm. I like squirrel orgasm.
It's an important word in life. Actually, there's no life without it. So I think it's important that Trap Squad bring life. Smoke some of this squirrel orgasm. Chill out.
Yeah, bro, we need to trademark that shit.
Hey, because guess what? When you say it as an acronym, guess what it is?
S-O.
So,
yeah.
But I'm going to tell you what you got. I don't give a fuck what you got going on. So. Pass that so. Where that so at? Excuse my language. Excuse my language. I'm trying to be better.
Squirrelgasm. There it is. Squirrelgasm. Why are we not even thinking about that? Squirrelgasm is a simple way. That's our brand.
How about Spacebaity?
Spacebaity. So wait, actually no, we don't say Spacebaity. Space squirrel nuts would be actually space squirrelgasm. Space. Either way, I don't care what we call it.
I want to remind you all the show is called Clickbaity, and you are getting that. You're at that point of the show where we are just clicking.
3 nuts certified. 3 nuts certified. I love it. 3 nuts and then certified.
Chipmunk spunk.
Chipmunk spunk. We got a couple squirrelgasms in here though. We got a whole bunch of squirrelgasms.
Hit hard. That squirrelgasm hit hard.
Lemon G, I think I've had Lemon G before. I like squirrelgasm. All right, so we're gonna come up with we're gonna create a hybrid. And we're going to trademark that bitch, and it's going to have our brand on it. And you know what? Because I have absolutely no problem whatsoever, because there's going to be a whole lot of people make a whole lot of money off of marijuana over the next 20 to 50 years. And really, if one of the ways we can bring balance to the force is by us getting in that space and getting some of that green, because we'll use that green. You already look at how we talk about this money, right? We don't talk about this money in context of what kind of yacht we could buy. We talk about this money in context of what kind of liberation we could bring. So let's get in there and get that money, man.
Yeah. And for those of you wondering, it's restorativeroots.org. Restorative Roots, not .org. Why am I saying .org? Restorativeroots.co. C-O.
Restorativeroots.co. All right. So, and it's not a commercial. It's us talking about what you doing, man. What you doing with your extra time outside of organizing, trying to win this race in Georgia, January 5th. We're at the hour and 30 minute mark. We have 1,000 people watching us live. Make sure that you hit that like button. We got about 30 minutes to go. So many more things to talk about in addition to squirrelgasms. That said, what else are y'all watching on y'all radar? What else y'all got? I got a video of Tom Cotton that I want to play before the end of the show. What y'all got going on?
Real quick, I messed up again.
Let me just. When I was in law school, Tom Cotton was running for Senate. I went to law school in Arkansas, where that monster's from. Can I just tell you that the TV weird is actually him in person?
Yeah.
Is that disconnected from the world. If you've never watched how strange this person is, I need everybody to take some time and go watch Tom Cotton. This gentleman is absolutely not representative of any population other than white supremacy. Re-electing Tom Cotton, putting his name on a ballot reminds me every time I see it why and how racism in America lives. I don't like Tom Cotton. And his name is Cotton on top of it.
Exactly. Like, you can't get too more cliche to that. Marcus, you want to jump in there before I play
Yeah,
this
I
clip?
gave y'all the wrong size. RestorativeRoots.net. I apologize. I've been smoking my own stuff. No, I'm just
Never get high off your own supply.
Yo, stash, bro.
RestorativeRoots.net. Please.
But I think in this case that's a good idea. Like, you should should be able to sample your product.
And my only ask is just sign up to the mailing list. As we grow, as we get bigger, we'll be sending out some pretty cool stuff. And I do plan on doing a collab with the Black Male Voters Project and Clickbaity at some time in the future. Maybe some like dope ass sneaker or something like that. You know what I'm talking about?
That's what I'm talking about. I love it.
Make it a suede sneaker boot, and then we could talk about it.
Everybody needs a hybrid of something. I need a hybrid of weed. And this man needs a hybrid of shoes.
Listen, I see these new sneakers, and maybe they're not new, but I'm just old and outdated. Because I think fashion is no longer for me. I think what these people find fashionable now is weird. No, I'm saying, Ben,
okay. You talking about what they wear now?
Man, those Louis Vuitton shoes that look like you about to jump on the moon are weird to me. Like,
no, I thought you were saying you weren't into fashion, but you're saying you're not into their fashion.
Yeah, pop culture fashion. So look, I seen these shoes that these sisters been wearing. They basically they're sneakers, but they hide wedges inside the heel. I'm like, y'all tricking the game. Some Tom Cruise type stuff, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, wait a minute, you got a wedge.
You know, most people don't know Tom Cruise is like my height. I think he might be an inch shorter than me, but he does be wearing the hell out of those platform shoes, bro.
Yeah, he wears some inserts on. Put some inserts on them sneakers for you.
Yeah, I take a pair. I don't give a shit. Here we go. Let's take a look at Tom Cotton be exactly what you expect somebody named Cotton to be. Here we go.
Now the Thanksgiving season is upon us, and once again we have much to give thanks for. But this year, we ought to be especially thankful for our ancestors, the Pilgrims, on their 400th anniversary.
Oh, God.
Their faith, their bravery, their wisdom places them in the American pantheon. Alongside the patriots of 1776, the Pilgrims of 1620 deserve the honor of American founders. Sadly, however, there appear to be few commemorations, parades, or festivals to celebrate the Pilgrims this year. Perhaps in part because revisionist charlatans of the radical left have lately claimed the previous year as America's true founding. Nothing could be further from the truth. The Pilgrims and their compact, like the founders and their declaration, form the true foundation of America.
Yeah, I hear this clown.
So count me in Coolidge's camp. On this anniversary, a century ago, he proclaimed, "It is our duty and the duty of every true American to reassemble in spirit in the cabin of the Mayflower, rededicate ourselves to the Pilgrims' great work by signing and reaffirming the document that has made mankind of all the earth."
That's enough of that bullshit. I can't play too much more without us commenting. Go ahead, Mundell.
All right. If a dick had a body, it'd be Tom Cotton. I can't stand that guy, bro. Like, come on, man. Really? Did he really say we don't celebrate white people who killed an entire race of folk and stole their land enough?
We don't celebrate them enough, bro. We got to come back together in the spirit of the Mayflower.
This is in the spirit of the Mayflower. My God.
And that's revisionist. You
charlatan. I'm a leftist charlatan.
Leftist
charlatan that's trying to spread the truth. You know what? No, I go back to it. Y'all remember around Thanksgiving when we talked about it's around Thanksgiving when we talked about the Thanksgiving picture of the pilgrim with the turkey and the big shotgun, with the thing in it, and the Indians and the pilgrims all hanging out with each other.
Yeah.
I think somebody should do a cartoon like that, but like the real cartoon where the Indian was like on the table getting raped or
Lord, you get cold-blooded.
Yeah, I'm being real because that's what
happened. That's what happened. That's what happened, bro.
And that turkey wasn't fat. That turkey was skinny, right? And they stole the Trinity. They stole the Trinity, the food Trinity, from the Indians to keep themselves alive. Never gave them credit for it. Thank God for New Orleans. He'll tell you the truth.
Don't forget all the viruses that they brought with them. Don't forget
put them in blankets and gave it to them, and then sent them for a walk. Come on, man. Let's be serious about this country, about what that was, and like the idea that Thanksgiving is about. That Thanksgiving is a lie. Just like this is a part of. This is what I'm telling you. This too. He is the trash of Ivy League colleges as well. This is what they teach them to feel and live, and whiteness is ingrained in every time they open their mouths. Like, and we just gotta be serious about it. And And we just gotta stop calling these people our friends on the other side. These people want us
Are
dead.
not our friends.
If he wants to celebrate, right? If he wants to celebrate pilgrim culture, which is basically the root of slavery, right? The origins of slavery, then let's just say what it is. You want to be a slave master, and you
Yeah.
want to celebrate that. Some Germans came from Nazis. They don't celebrate Nazis in Germany.
Right.
Why can't these white people in America get that?
Because
Your ancestors were.
Because
Go ahead, fam.
Because we have not defeated white supremacy like we defeated Nazism, at least that one time. Right? We defeated Nazism that one time, and it's making its way back. We have not ever defeated white supremacy in this country. And here's the other thing, like to Marcus, to what you were saying, man, if we reported the truth of what happened in this country, every single one of us in 2020 would clutch our pearls. Every one of us. We couldn't handle the truth of the rape and the pillage, the plunder, right? The genocide.
And who was raped, Ben? And who was raped? Like just the imagery that you gave us, Marcus, of putting a Native American on a table at a Thanksgiving celebration of the Pilgrims, showing that Native American being raped. It's just a matter of historical fact.
That's the truth. Hey, listen.
And here's the thing. I'm glad you didn't say gender, because they raped black men, black women, Native folk. Not just it wasn't just, you know what I'm saying? Everybody, the disgusting.
They were out there raping everybody.
Whiteness.
Hide your. I'm sorry.
Whiteness was that serious
raping everybody,
about making people, otherizing people, and dehumanizing them. And they
At
didn't
the same
stop
time, at the
thinking
same
of it.
time, wanting to get the privilege out of their body.
Absolutely.
You know, guys. Ben, you said we haven't defeated white supremacy. Well, let me give you something extra. We would have our defeat Hitler moment if Joe Biden would prosecute Donald Trump. We would have a moment like that where they were walked out on the plank and thrown in the ocean with the sharks. We would have a moment like that. It would be a moment of,
I agree.
We are officially ending. We're taking your symbolic leader of your cult of white supremacy and we're putting him in jail for years, right? And yeah, they're gonna use him as a martyr, but I mean, also there was lots of Nazis who went to South America and started that nonsense down there. Follow what
You
I'm
ain't
saying.
gotta go to South America. You can just come to the United States.
Right, that's right. So that's right. So follow what I'm saying to you. So who's perpetuating white supremacy when Joe Biden decides that he doesn't want to prosecute Donald Trump? Mm-hmm. Who doesn't want to end who doesn't want to end the war with white supremacy? It's right there in front of you. All you got to do is just take your victory, and it's not even petty. That guy killed 200,000 Americans, allowed 200,000 Americans to die under his watch. That's enough right there for him to get prosecuted.
250,000.
But guess what? And that's another way to end white supremacy. Like to end the figurehead of it. Am I saying it's going to go away forever? No, but I'm saying that's the beginning of its death, is to take their figurehead and snatch them off the planet, and snatch them off the game. And we're not willing to do. As a matter of fact, we're trying to empower his friends to come kumbaya.
Mm-hmm.
I think the difference though is I don't think walking Trump to the plank is prosecuting white supremacy. We got to remember there were all the Nazis got prosecuted, not just Hitler. Hitler didn't just die, right? They all got, all the ones they caught or didn't need to make rockets. America.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point.
America. So we need to prosecute all of them. Like I really think that administration should be an administration that gets. My dream is that they are arresting people all the way. Like every time you get found out, it's like, oh, we got a supremacist hunt. We found them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we found another supremacist being charged. But I think that requires us to admit a lot of things. There's a lot of forms of white supremacy that we don't call out. And allowing progressives not to say that reparations is necessary for us to be whole is, to me, a form of white supremacy. Not one that's punishable by law, but a damn sure should be punishable by morality.
that's the thing with truth and reconciliation, right? That we
That
always
is the
talk
thing
about.
with truth and reconciliation.
You can't have reconciliation unless you've had some restorative justice. Like unless you've had, there's got to be some penalties for people's actions.
Yep.
And we're at the point, how powerful white supremacy is in this country. We're at the point where it has become so powerful that it is a direct threat and challenge to science itself. We can't even get a bearing.
Wow.
We can't even get a bearing on truth in this country. Why? Because truth is challenged by white supremacy in this country.
Ben, you just glossed over that. I need you to repeat something. I need you to repeat what you just said, especially the portion about we can't get truth and reconciliation because we're not willing to prosecute white supremacy. Like,
Yeah, no, we're not. We
dig
won't.
deeper, dig deeper in that because there's a lot in that statement.
Well,
There's
I mean-
a lot in that statement.
Well,
like South Africa.
You gonna let me say it or not?
No.
Well, then go ahead and say it for me because I honestly I don't even know what I said, to be honest with you. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, look at South Africa, right? South Africa went, and they did a Truth and Reconciliation Commission, and people went to jail for the atrocities that happened in South Africa during apartheid. Now, follow what I'm saying. In America, our apartheid, our slavery, has been going on for 400 years, and
Yeah.
they are in their fourth, fifth generation of reaping the benefits of slavery, reaping the benefits of white supremacy, and
Yep.
no one has ever gone to jail.
Right. Ever. Period.
Yeah, you think we're going to have an opportunity to actually have an open conversation about what's owed to Black Americans? And apartheid didn't last anywhere as long as the oppression of Black people in America. It didn't. So, I mean,
Well, it goes further than that. Let me just swing it on one more pivot, and I want y'all to talk about this. It also is literally the thing that is destroying the country right now. And I don't mean figuratively. I mean literally. It's the fact that the Senate, it's the Electoral College. The fact that it exists in the first place is one of the number one ways we're going to destroy this country, because if we get too many more results where the popular vote says X, but the Electoral College says Y, that's going to destroy the country. Right? If you look at the filibuster, the purpose of the filibuster, their ability to stop any progress in this country is a result of trying to protect powerful white slave owning people. Right? And so we still have a sickness in this country today that is destroying the country today. And it is rooted in the same sickness that started this country, which was the genocide of the native people, right? The dehumanization of non-white people. And that sickness is still the problem that we're dealing with today. But they don't want to look at the cure. The cure is the truth and reconciliation. The cure is actually punishing white supremacy for a change instead of just giving it cover so that it can live to fight another day. But they don't want to do that. They would rather, quite literally, burn this country to the ground than to come to terms with their responsibility, the culpability, and the complicity with white supremacy.
agreed.
So the failures of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in South Africa, yeah, as articulated by Desmond Tutu, who actually was one of the conveners, was that white people wanted to move forward without reconciliation. That was his problem. That's what he said. The failures of it wasn't successful because of the lack of reconciliation. Meaning, you owe someone something and you must pay for it. And South Africa has not paid for it, which is why there's still so much racial turmoil in South Africa. 3% of the population still own 97% of the wealth and land in that country. The white people, the white South Africans, the Afrikaners, the racist Afrikaners still control the land and also monies, the treasury of a country that's not theirs. And 97% of South Africans, that Black South Africans whose land that is, are still ostracized and also denied reconciliation, which is necessary to move forward. So this is the failure of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. America hasn't even got to the truth part. Like, America won't even deal with the truth. They believe Barack Obama put us in a post-racial place. They believe that the fact that we're not slaves or we never were slaves, we're not affected by it. America believes that black folks should just pull themselves up by their bootstrap. I already told you about Dr. King, and I also believe that it is a horrible and disgusting thing to tell a shoeless man to pull himself up by his bootstraps, especially when you built the situation where he can't buy boots because you won't give him space or opportunity to do so. So I think America is far, far behind where the Truth and Reconciliation was, even though it in itself failed. Another Truth and Reconciliation, we had a couple of them in America. Think about the one in Greensboro when they were trying to address the 1979 massacre that happened, where the police told the KKK where Union and black people were organizing a protest so they can go kill them, and then the police sat and watched these people kill and jump out the car with their guns and knives and kill these protesters and shoot these protesters. Reverend Nelson was helped try to convene that Truth and Reconciliation Commission, and he, much like those folk in South Africa that were demanding certain reconciliations be made to the folk that suffered and still lived from the protests, he too was demonized, right? Reverend Nelson became the enemy of Greensboro because of the truth he was telling, and he was one of those people who was stabbed, I think, maybe shot in '79. So I'm telling you, America has so far to go when it comes to truth and reconciliation, and white people, my God, white people are not prepared. They can't stomach whiteness. Can't stomach what's required.
That's the thing,
what's
man.
required to deal with that.
That's the thing, bro. They everything that you said, absolutely. Here's the thing. They're so dedicated to this that they will see everything destroyed around them. They will watch their own personal lives be destroyed on behalf of protecting white supremacy.
Absolutely.
They will see their communities destroyed and ravaged by COVID-19 because all of this is still rooted. The rejection of wearing a mask is rooted in white supremacy, folks. If we need to draw you a diagram, stick around. We've already drawn it before, right? So they would destroy their own personal lives. They would destroy their own personal communities. They would destroy their schools, their cities, their states. They would destroy this country to prevent from having to confront the reality of white supremacy in this country. And therein lies the problem, is they are committed to this ideology unto death. And we got to understand that's who we're dealing with.
For real. Who just said that people are dying from COVID on the bed telling the nurse it ain't COVID?
That was me. That was a clip I played.
Exactly.
I played yesterday. They dying from COVID and will refuse. They arguing with the damn nurse who's saying, "Would you like for me to contact your family? We could put them on FaceTime?" No. This is not COVID-19. This is glaucoma. What they pulling at anything so they don't have to face reality, bro. And when you deal with people who are willing to die instead of adjusting to the truth, you just better realize that's why truth is at risk in this country. Truth, we can't look at scientific fact and agree on it because white supremacy has these people committed even unto death.
What is church? Ben, wouldn't you say, though, the history, the enjoyment of all privileges won because of white supremacy is rooted in the denial of facts? Black people are less than human.
Yes.
Black brain doesn't work like white people.
Yes.
So this is par for the course, right? They've been denying science ever since they've been saying white is superior.
In order to justify their little raggedy power structure, their little raggedy economic system, because we have generated a whole lot of wealth. But can you imagine? Let's just take what we said today. Take the three of us. You put $100,000 in each of our hands, and we are just programmed to flip it. Just programmed. Not even in a capitalistic endeavor, we could do that, but we're programmed to flip it because we understand we got to flip it in order to achieve our political goals. We want to get more black people registered. We got to flip that dime and turn it into $1, right? That's our mentality. You want to get more people out to vote, then you got to flip that 100,000 into be something that's worth $500,000. We leverage every dime that comes into our pocket because we've had to. If you look at this country and you look at the fact that it refuses to reject white supremacy, it refuses to reject to accept data. They refuse to accept data and react to data the way that they should. They would rather lose. They would put that money into what we're trying to do. And I'm not talking just literally. I'm talking about figuratively. I'm talking also about listening to us as we tell you what to do in these campaigns, right? because we've shown you our motivation is to flip that dollar, not to keep it to us selfishly. But y'all stay giving the money to all these consultants, to all of these politicians, to all these organizations. It transcends everything that we're talking about. You are still willing to put money into the hands of people, trust into the hands of people, right? Political capital into the hands of people who have already demonstrated to you that they will ignore the facts for the sake of protecting white supremacy. And that's why we can't get nowhere, because y'all still listen to the people who would rather deny the truth than to face the facts of what white supremacy has done in this country.
There's science behind this. I know Mondale and you guys have just mentioned it, but like, I got evidence for that $100,000, man. Like Charles Booker, right?
Period.
Like Evans versus Abrams.
Period.
Right? Like Alvin Brown, 2011. I just been a part of so many. Mondale got a million stories, right? I've been a part of so many things where I took $100,000, and I've seen so many things where we're taking $100,000 and turned that thing into, you know, a million, 2 million without Fox News and MSNBC covering my candidate every day. You know what I mean? Like, you know, we're so used to flipping everything, man.
We've had to.
Yeah, I mean, I get it from my mama. You know what I mean? Mama take $10 and stretch out meals for a week.
Right.
$10. $10, and I wouldn't know the difference.
Bro, I'm still trying to figure out how the hell my dad fed six kids on less salary than I was making in my 20s, bro. I have no idea how they did it, but we come through a level of struggle of survival. We have been trained to survive.
Listen,
and we bring that to everything that we do.
Ben, you're dumbing down the black experience, brother. Let me do something. To say what you said about your dad. You asked a question about your dad, the how of your dad. It's the education that oppressed people have that Western society does not value. This is the intellect that you can't learn at Harvard. I promise you, the fact that listen, these schools have taught us to be workers, right? You go to school to learn how to participate in this economy. But you can't teach us how to survive white supremacy in these schools. The lessons learned from your dad and the generations before him and our parents is an intellect that we don't pride ourselves on enough, to be honest. Because if you think about how can you survive this crucible called white supremacy in the United States of America, and still stand up straight, that is an intellectual supremacy that folks should talk about that we don't even get credit to, because we're so proud of 2 times 2, not $10 turning into an entire meal for 12 people.
And again, I love the context,
because they're 2 times. Because think about their 2 times 2 don't feed the homeless. Your 2 times 2, meaning your dad's intelligence, fed all of y'all. Period, bro. It's the resilience factor, bro. It's the resilience. It's the fact that you said, what was the phrase? You said we have had to navigate white supremacy, or how did you put it? We've had to survive, struggle. We had to be resilient in white supremacy, which made us worthy of study, right? Look at black folks who have championed or triumphed at any level in white supremacy, and they are worthy of study, because we're not just talking about, I need everybody to please always expand your horizons. We're not just talking about ye old racism of calling us the N-word. Right. Right. We're talking about the institutions, the method of control, the method of maintaining power, economic power and political power. It is a white supremacist institution that is cancerous, that is killing white folks. It's killing y'all. And what we're telling you is that we have a track record as black folks in this country of not only surviving, but breaking free of the overwhelming gravity of white supremacy and still ascending and excelling in this system. Why? Because we have had that spirit of resilience. We have had to take $1 and stretch that thing for a week. We've had to take a family of 6 and be able to feed them on $20 for 2 weeks. We have had to be resilient in this raggedy ass system that your ancestors propagated.
And we have shown you how to not only survive in it, but to overcome it and to transcend it. And y'all still want to listen to these clowns who want to tell you to go after moderate Republicans.
And the biggest irony is when we start doing successful in it, especially if we start doing successful in the system and create our own system, i.e. Rosewood, i.e. Tulsa, Oklahoma,
Yep.
then that's when they really come and try to tear down everything. Like they will burn and tear and pillage and rape to make sure that we don't become successful within their own system, building our own system, right? So we have to navigate those waters also, playing by your rules.
Yeah.
Playing by your rules, becoming successful at that, and then you getting mad at our rules actually work. Let me tell you, like, hey, Master P had it right. That's the Godfather. Master P had it right. If this white man come and offer me $1 million, how much is my own business worth? Mm-hmm. And he didn't do that just in the white community. He made his business off the black community, right? And yes, and there are people who, to this day, record labels to this day, that hate Master P's guts and will try to do anything to destroy the wealth that the man has built. So.
But let me tell you, in this whiteness, I'm gonna throw it to you real quick, Mundell. This whiteness is not just about your skin color, even though that's questionable for some folks. But this intersection of whiteness is really about how much you yield and capitulate and act and operate like a white supremacist. That's how you could have black folks who carry themselves exactly like a white supremacist would, and they are not as resourceful with resources as the rest of us, because you cannot be resourceful in America in a white supremacist system by being and operating exactly like a white supremacist. In other words, if your mindset is on how you could take this money and enrich yourself versus how you could take this money and stretch it and make it work for your vision, for your family, for your business, your organization, whatever it is, if your mindset is one that says, how can I get this money for me and myself, then you're already not the type of person who can be resilient. How do I say this without putting out specifics? When you see people take a budget and they waste that budget like a rich white consultant, they're operating in white supremacy.
Indeed, they are. Let's be clear. And this is not a conversation from my point of view. This is not a conversation about capitalism, right? This is a conversation about like the intellect to survive white supremacy, and survive capitalism, white supremacy, right, Ben? Same sisters. If we are honest about what America is, America looks like Donald Trump's presidency for black people every day. Meaning we are victims of lies that are sanctioned by every media outlet that replays them, that don't fact check them, that every social media site that gives them, allow him to have 19 million people follow him, and give him a blue check. The fact that all of this is legitimized is the experience that black people are forced to suffer in. And much like 9/11, Donald Trump has, for white people who don't agree with him, has struck the psyche of the so-called white liberal to make them know what it means to be niggerized in America. You are getting a taste of our everyday experience. You changed the president. I still feel like Donald Trump's president. How else can you explain me dying 7 years younger than anybody? Not just in this country, but even if you add Cuba to it, black men there live longer than I do. That's my neighbor 90 miles to the south. And you said that was a third world country, pejoratively. How else are cops in Cuba not killing black men? How else are black men walking the streets in Cuba safer than I am, and not by other black men, but by agents of the state?
Right.
Unless you're lying to me on TV, unless you're lying to me about protecting and serving, unless you're lying to me about your healthcare industry, unless you're lying to me about your job industry, unless you're lying to me about your education. So I'm talking about intelligence to survive in the face of all of those lies that America tells us. That Donald Trump of America is every day for Black people. Not just it didn't begin 4 years ago, and it won't end in 40 days.
That's it. That's it. Marcus, we're at the end of the show. Before we click off, I want to give everybody a little moment of joy. I want you to take a look at your Twitter screen and not your Twitter screen, but at your screen. And I'm pulling up Twitter, and I want to give you a little bit of joy and some schadenfreude. The Free Your Mind kid on Twitter is sharing images of how upset Donald Trump supporters are that their white supremacist guy did not win. This dude is on TikTok crying, said, "I don't want to be here anymore." This dude has wrapped himself in a blue thin. This is a whole lot of stuff going on in this one. It is a Trump flag, but it's branded just like the thin blue line, saying "It's over, boys." And then this dude is laid out in the street mourning with his beer can, with his can of Monster energy drink just to the side of him. There's a lot of folks who are really mourning this morning as they come to terms with the fact that Donald Trump has lost, even though him losing probably will directly lead to some of them being alive in the next year. So get the last word in there. Whoever wants the last word. Marcus, you're teed up. Whoever wants it, though.
Yeah, I'll do the last word. First off, please clip and record what Mondale just said at the end of this speech. That was one of the most powerful statements that was ever made on this show. Kudos to you, my brother. Please, Ben, please clip that later on. I don't have anything to say to overtalk that besides, like, we need money to keep this going. So if you like this show, if you like what we're saying, if you like how we're speaking truth to power, I need you to do a couple things for me right now before we end this show. Consider giving us a super chat. If you're on Facebook, I don't think we are at that place on Facebook yet where we can get that monetization just yet over there on Facebook. But everyone can go to Patreon and become a subscriber. You can just go to patreon.com and click in the search engine, Clickbaity Political Thirst Trap. We'll take anything. This is obviously not for our financial personal benefit, but we do need to do some things with the show to make sure that our show keeps going. Our show keeps going. Our show keeps moving. Our show keeps doing what it does. So you can follow us, like our YouTube, Facebook, like this. It's tough for us to get up every morning and bring y'all this kind of content that's original, that's not necessarily repetitive, as someone said. No, this is not repetitive. We repeat the same things about white supremacy, but nothing about what we say is repetitive. And if it sounds repetitive to you, that's because you're not taking it in the right way.
They ain't woke.
Yeah. Some of y'all need to just stay asleep, or at least allow us to set the alarm clock for you in the morning time.
That's it.
So come join us at patreon.com. I'm asking 5 of y'all, 5 Patreons, 5 Thirst Traptors, 5 Trap Squad members to, give us $5 this morning on Patreon and become a subscriber. And come back. Tomorrow morning is our Friday Trap, and it always seems like it's going to be fun. So for Ben Dixon, for Mondale Robinson, I'm Marcus Farrell. Thanks for joining Clickbaity Political Thirst Trap. Peace.
Peace, y'all.